欢迎来到简单歌唱 Simple， 我是你的歌唱学员是 Orange。在歌手2025的赛程当中，有一场比赛特别的多争议。那因为我们即将要听的这两位歌手，他的实力都非常坚强，一个是阿云嘎，然后另外一个是陈楚生。那他们只能说难分高下。然而呢，最终这个比赛结果是有蛮大的争议。不少有人对这个结果感到遗憾，然后甚至有人会为其中一位歌手感到非常的不平不满。那所以呢，今天我们特别邀请到一位来自美国的作曲大师 Adam， 和我一起来欣赏这一场精彩的对决。那 Adam 呢，他还没有完全听过这场比赛的内容，因此呢，我们会请他以专业音乐人的角度以及 songwriter 的角度来分析这两位歌手的演出表现，并猜猜看最终谁会赢。那在观赏的同时呢 ，Adam 也会分享他观察到他们在唱的时候的声音的细节，还有编曲的观点。那我们就废话不多说，一起来看看今天精彩的内容吧。
Thank you, Orange. I'll take a listen to Yunga first, and I'll give my opinion of what's going on vocally and songwriting wise.
在路途中沉落的，永远都是灰烬，但总有丝线的眼神戳痛我身。那一刻，所有的伤疤都牵扯到了灵魂，蜿蜒而明明暗暗的，有似水奔腾。
Okay, so my initial impression is that Ayunga sounds like a very trained singer. It sounds like he has taken proper vocal lessons. Just by the way he holds himself while he's singing, it's very relaxed, his body, but he's projecting a lot of sound. And he has a deep resonant tone. And I wonder if he actually first studied opera, because his voice
musical theater， 他好像是音乐剧，对
musical theater, exactly. That was my second choice, would be maybe first studying opera, then getting into musical theater. So yeah, it's a interesting voice. It's a little bit haunting, and that's partly to do with the song, of course. And let's listen on and see where he goes.
淘尽岁月的挣扎，如泥沙般翻滚，忍不住想要触碰，让自己感觉到疼。
So now I feel like I'm in a Disney musical. That part of the song was pretty melodic, very reminiscent of a Disney type of ballad musical type of song. And yeah, he's showing that he can have complete control when his register goes higher. It's not, because he's so trained, you can tell that it's not going to be a problem for him to sing high note formula. So let's continue.
那些琵琶作响的，不知好苦悲悯，你总能听。
So that was a really nice moment, because he put forth a lot of power for like a second or two, and then he pulled back. And again, that takes a lot of training to do that very seamlessly. It's a lot more difficult than it sounds to actually do that very well. So yeah, it sounds like he has practiced many hundreds, maybe thousands of songs he's probably sung to get his voice at that place of really mastering all the elements of control and tone and good emotion
对
too, like a
对
good
对
theater performer would have.
我这边有一个问题想要问 Adam，就是因为你之前有在中国好声音服务过，就是有当过那边的导师。那我想问说，像你刚刚说的那个技术嘛，在唱歌来说就是这个叫什么diminuendo，就是它很大然后又很小那样，就是有渐强渐弱这种技术。对于你们来说，在评断这样子的歌手，尤其在这种比赛节目当中，展现这样的技术会是一个非常加分的选项吗？还是说，一首歌能不能就是它的技术你会选多一点，还是情感方面你更有感觉，你会选多一点？就是以这样子的比赛来说，你会怎么选？
That's a good question. I think it really depends on who is judging.
OK
You know, some judges are very technical based,
OK，
and they might identify more with that technical aspect of his voice and what he can do with all his skills. And then another judge who might be more about feeling and emotion, maybe is not trained, maybe it's just a natural singer, might decide like they're not thinking about the technical aspect. They're just thinking about the emotion. And it's interesting you brought that up because I have done a lot of work in China with a lot of singers. And when we would be in the studio, whether we would be in Beijing usually or Shanghai with Chinese singers, my production partner and Mr. Fantastic Peter Habib, his main goal, aside from recording the singer and engineering that, was making sure the technical aspects were very on point. Good pitch, good phrasing, the right notes, that kind of thing. And my sort of job was more on the emotional side.
Oh, cool.
So that's how we kind of vocal produced many singers like a team. Peter was technical and I was more of the emotional. Am I believing the singer? Sometimes I would even go into the recording booth and show the singer what to do. Like we were working with Jika Junyi, who has become very popular in China. And I remember at the end, Peter was like, okay, I want you to listen to the song and just freestyle, just do ad libs over the existing vocals, just whatever comes out. So some singers can do this very well, and some singers are more scared too. And it's a combination of a little bit of technical and also emotional and just letting go. It's more about letting go your inhibitions than anything else. So you never know what's going to happen until you do it. So in this case, Peter hit the record button and the song was playing and Jika Junyi was just in the studio and just kind of not doing anything. She was in the booth, recording booth, and she just then she wasn't doing much. We were waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally she's like, "Oh, I'm thinking too much. I'm not sure what I should do." So I was like, I jumped in and I said, "Okay, look, you have to really just not think at all and just whatever comes out. We're only gonna take a few pieces, and you can do this a few times. We'll take the best." So she said, "Oh, can you come and show me?" So I went into the booth, and Peter played the song, and I just went crazy and just kept singing, la 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 la, whatever, and then whatever came out, and she was so mesmerized by this that when I was done, she grabbed me and kissed me.
Wow.
Yes, with her boyfriend watching from the other side of the vocal booth behind you, and Peter just shaking his head like, "Oh my God." She was a very fun artist and a lot of personality, a lot of energy. So I was kind of like, whoa. but a good example, a little story, a little aside for the audience here.
我真的笑死！哇，我想不到那个会作曲会写歌还能够抢别人男朋友，因为其实我们有蛮多学生就是想说学习唱歌可以吸引异性啊，那个写歌看起来是更厉害的，可以吸引之外还可以抢走别人男朋友。
That's right. That's right.
对，那开玩笑，对。如果那个大家听到这边想要学习怎么样抢别人男朋友方式的写歌方法，欢迎找 Adam 学习写歌技巧。Adam 真的是很厉害，他在这个写歌方面有非常厉害的才能，而且有非常多年的这个经验。那当然我现在能够跟他用中文跟他沟通，然后他使用英文，也是因为我们有用一个特别的技术，我们可以这样及时的做沟通。所以大家如果想找 Adam 来学习更进阶的写歌技巧，好，那我们下面的这个连结点下去了解更多。
All right, we'll continue.
听到动人的歌音，虽然仿佛是寂静无声，有多少灰烬就有多少余温，要念它开怀抱，将它活得更近。
Wow. Okay, I was just riding along for that journey where he showcased a lot of skills and power and range. Perfect for Broadway stage in New York City. Yeah, he could definitely, he has the projection. If I was going to critique anything, it would be just from a personal standpoint. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of his tone. I mean, some people really like that sound of a voice, and I mean, again, that's just a personal preference. There's nothing wrong with it, and actually, it works very well for this style of song. It's just not my favorite tone. He does do a great job when he goes into his higher register of not straining his voice or tightening. It still sounds pretty open. Again, very difficult to do without proper training or taking a good Singple high notes course to open your voice up.
Yeah.
But I think, again, the song matches his voice well, so it's a good fit.
能让寒风中的我们没那么冷，有多少灰烬就有多少余温。
Really excellent emotion. I was very, very captivated, very engaged with that performance. I like the subtlety. Again, he's acting this song out. And that's a good reminder that singers are similar to actors in the way that they need to inhabit the song. They need, whatever the song's message is, they have to, put themselves right in there like an actor would with a script for a movie. And what makes that difficult is sometimes when I would work with a singer, they might come into the studio and they might be in a really bad mood. Maybe they just broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend and they have to sing a party song, like a fun song. That's really hard to get them to switch into an acting mode. Or they might be really energetic and happy, and then they have to go into a sad, emotional song. And so there is a good similarity, a good analogy between actors and singers in terms of actors inhabiting the world of the script for the movie and song and singers inhabiting the world of the song, what the composer, what the songwriter intended.
有多少灰烬，就有多少余温。
Wow, okay, so that last note that he held is actually very difficult to do because he has to it's not a high note. It's a lower note, but he's controlling it in a way where it's not too loud but he's holding it long enough where it can settle naturally and match emotionally with where he wants to end that note. What makes it, you have to have very good support with your body and control of your voice to do that effectively. And what's interesting, he also does it with very little vibrato. A lot of singers, I find, tend to rely on vibrato too much.
Yeah.
And personally, again, I'm not such a big fan if he was like, low, like all that vibrato. You know, it's kind of like, well, I'm not sure if I can hold that pitch and put enough air through my voice to sustain that note. So I'm just gonna go low vibrato rather than oh, like either a slow vibrato or holding out a note. To me, is always shows more skill from a singer.
没错，没错，没错，完全同意。这一点真的教唱歌教那么久，其实也蛮有感的，就是尤其要唱这么弱的声音，可是你要保住你的声音不会虚掉，或是对，就是很虚的那种感觉。然后你要唱一个直的一个长音，其实不是很容易，因为很容易我们这边就会出力。那就像 Adam 你说，那个 support 要非常好，因为 support 好才不会出力，他才能够稳住这个长音。然后应该说在唱这个长音是我们要出力的，可是不能用出这边的力，我们要出下面这边的力气才能够 hold 住，然后不用依靠很多的这个 vibrato， 因为我觉得用 vibrato 算是 hold 长音的一种作弊的方法，因为它确实 vibrato 可以让我们这边比较放松，但是我们又不能让它做的太明显，所以这真的是蛮困难的一个技巧。我觉得他这边做的真的蛮厉害的。不过我这边有一个问题，就是像 Adam 你说你不喜欢他的这个音色，主要原因是因为太 musical 或是太像 opera 的感觉吗？没有那么的pop 的感觉，是这样的吗？我不确定。就是说他会尝试把声音唱得非常的沉，非常的 deep， 主要是因为这样吗
？It's a very subtle thing because his voice tone and style is very well suited for musical theater or opera. So again, it's just there are other musical theater singers and opera singers that I've heard where the tone I just like a little bit more. He's in the ballpark. I don't want to just come out and say, oh, I don't like his tone. It's just not. It's not compared to. I'm thinking of other singers that I've heard like on Broadway or musical theater, but it's difficult to compare him to say a pop singer, which because it's like comparing apples and oranges. They're two different things. They both can be good. People like one more than the other. It's a very personal opinion. So and the other thing I didn't mention I didn't mention much about the actual song, the arrangement. I think it's a complicated song. A trained singer, suited well for a trained singer. I think the song choice for him was very good. Do I love the song? I don't know. Not really. I think it's good. It's musical. It's not memorable for me. It's complicated. I couldn't sing it back to you any part. You know, sometimes even in musical theater songs, there is a motif, like a common theme that you could maybe sing back the melody. This might have to do with the difference between, you know, the Chinese style of this, you know, song versus, you know, more Western style theater song for my ears, because of course I'm coming from a Western perspective. So, but again, even if the song was sung in English, I think I would have a similar opinion in terms of just the song itself wasn't particularly memorable for me.
OK， 这确实蛮重要的。我觉得这可能跟他意图有关，他可能就是想要来展现他的 voice technique。我觉得可能是这样子的
Yes.
原因的。
And for voice technique, it was very, very good showcase. Should I listen to the next singer?
Let's go. 下一位歌手陈楚生
Chen Chuang, and I actually worked with him in the studio many years ago. He came in with his guitar and played us some stuff, and we collaborated on a new song together for the day. So that was in Beijing. And we were doing a songwriting camp at the time. So it's been a while, and a lot of artists came through. So I'm curious to hear what Chen Chuang is doing now.
你忘了划过伤口的冷风，你信任不痛不痒就算过了一生，你为什么看见雪飘落就会想唱歌？为什么在放手时刻也
Wow. Okay. So right away, this is of course, a completely different song style.
没错。
It's more of a cool pop rock alternative style, which I remember he used to do that. I haven't heard his music recently. His voice is very appealing to fans of that would know his style of music, and it's not the trained singer of Ayunga. It's more of, you know, his own kind of unique, just a little bit of a smoky pop voice. This song does not showcase, you know, great vocals, like great vocal technique. It's not meant to show off, but but I actually like this song better. I can remember the melodies, and it's more engaging from a songwriting standpoint for me. Again, it's really hard to compare completely different styles, like a theater song versus a pop rock song. But just in terms of memorability, I'm remembering this more. Obviously, Yoonga, up to now, of what I've heard, has a stronger voice, you know, stronger technique. The emotional level is pretty even for now.
Okay.
Chen Chuang has an advantage that he has a bunch of singers behind him. So it kind of seems a little unfair because it's going to make him sound better when you have a chorus, background vocals. But yeah, this one's going to be a hard one to evaluate. So let's see what happens.
OK
守着它的灿烂，因为忍受着它的腐烂。你说别爱啊，又依依不舍，所以生命
what a cool arrangement. I like the xylophone. I like the background vocals. Again, yeah, the song is cool. Like that's, I get this, cool impression. I'm already kind of guessing that I'm just gonna say that Chen Chuang won and everyone's upset because they think Ah Young-ga had a better performance and a better voice and all of those things. That's just my guess.
Okay.
Right now. Let's see what happens as I listen through to the song. In terms of who I think would win or should win. Let's see.
Okay.
你睡了，可时间它依然走着。嘿，你怕了，恍然抬头却醒了。哎，你会寂寞，手握着星火，等在至暗时刻。
Okay, yeah, very cool. As getting into building it up. So Ah Young-ga has the better voice and Chen Chuang has the better song. So the question becomes, what are we evaluating here, right? Are we evaluating the song or the voice? Now this, I guess in a singing competition, well, if it's a songwriting competition, then, of course, you try to ignore the voice and you just pick whatever song you think is stronger. In a singing competition, it shows you how important it is to choose a very strong song. Because even if you don't have the strongest voice, if you pick the right song for your voice and you connect with the audience and the judges, then you will likely win. Because the song, of course, I'm a songwriter, so I'm going to say this with bias, but the song is king. The song is the most important foundation for everything else. You have to have the strong song that the singer can deliver. A great voice can sing a bad song, but people might be like, oh, wow, that's a great voice, but they're not going to be connected because the song doesn't do anything. Whereas if you have a great song, but the voice isn't so good, people will be more forgiving because they're connecting with the song. Does that make sense?
那我想到一个比喻，我不知道这样讲可不可以，就是例如奥斯卡演员非常会演，然后拿到一个很烂的一个剧本，他演得非常好，但是这个剧情就是很烂，然后甚至可能很无聊，那大家可能也比较不太喜欢啊。那如果说可能一个演员没有像奥斯卡这个演员那么的厉害，但是他有一定的水准，然后拿到一个非常好的剧本，他演出来应该效果会比就是很厉害的演员，然后演一个很无聊的一个剧，效果来的好很多。这样说对吗？就是我用这样子去类比。
That's a good analogy. Of course, ideally, you want to try to match a great song with a great voice. That's the magic happens. But again, there are so many different kinds of voices that it becomes very subjective. Well, I like this voice but not that voice, and and songs are similar, right? Some people love one song but they don't like another song, and not everybody agrees what song they like more. From my opinion, or from my perspective rather, I like to think of songs, whether they're great or they're not, it doesn't matter what style they're in. Like if they're theater, if they're a musical theater style song, or pop rock, or jazz, good music or great music is great music. So it's, to me, there's a little more objectivity in evaluating, a song, because it's like, oh, well, people say that too. Oh, that song is a great song, or, I don't really, that's not such a great song. But with vocalists, it tends to be, there's a lot more range in terms of, stylistically. You could have like it's hard to have a bad song and people say, oh, that's a good song, but you could have like a bad voice and people are like, well, I kind of like that voice.
Oh.
It's just it's like, and maybe it's because, I mean, I think of an American artist by the name of Bob Dylan. Have you heard of Bob Dylan?
Yeah.
Who's considered like an amazing songwriter, poet, like iconic, and his voice is, to me, pretty terrible. Like, I can't, and it's really hard for me to listen to voices like that. But because the songs are so special, he can get away with delivering that. Especially if you write your own songs, your voice does not have to be that good, because the song is always going to be more important than the singer. It's just the way it goes. That was a crazy, weird last note. He like sang kind of high, but then it disappeared. Like his vocal disappeared for like, I don't know what was going on. It's like he opened his mouth and nothing came out, or it just like stopped the note and then kind of came back. I don't know if that was done on purpose or you just didn't hit it, and it was kind of odd, right?
我感觉他没唱到，我感觉他是没唱到的，他太高了，然后太紧绷效应了，我感觉像是这样，不像是，我觉得不像 technical problem， 就是不是感觉不像麦克风的问题。
Got it.
你是什么？在他温柔夜的你是什么？闪着光坠落，有意义多少？所以生命，它璀璨如歌，它璀璨如歌。
Okay. So this is a really tricky one. First of all, Chen Chuang sang for twice the amount of time that Ayunga sang. This was like almost over 6 minutes or something.
Wow.
And Ayunga had 3 minutes. That's not fair. I feel like Chen Chuang had a lot more advantages. Like, he got to sing twice as long. He got a chorus of singers behind him, which gets everybody excited, and then the arrangement and the performance. He just had all of these extra elements to help him on stage, whereas Ayunga was really just by himself, carrying the whole thing in half the time. So I am gonna give you 2 answers.
Okay.
I'm gonna repeat what I said before, which is, I think that Chen Chuang won because of the combination of all of the elements I talked about: the song, the length of time, the stage performers that helped him, and I think the audience and everybody just got connected to that, and the judges too. And I believe that they gave him they made him the winner, and people are upset because Ayunga, you know, has a stronger voice technically, and this is a singer competition. So if I was evaluating it, like really taking away the song, because yeah, I liked this song more, that Chen Chuang did, I would have to go with Ayunga for the winner in terms of the vocals.
Okay.
So that's what I think. You know, I would give Ayunga the winner, but I think Chen Chuang won on the show. So let's see if I'm right or completely wrong.
OK， 好，那我就来公布答案了。没错，你讲的完全没错。这一场是阿云嘎不是输了，对，阿云嘎输了，陈楚生赢了。就我觉得我也同意 Adam 你说的这个说法，就是可能听众或者是评审他们可能不会觉得这是一个完全比唱歌的这种比赛。我觉得就是他们还是看整体的这种感觉。但某些评审可能会更偏好vocal 或是各个部分，但是我也感觉到你说，但是我没有想过你讲到说陈楚生他唱的是他2倍的时间没想到这个也是一个比赛会成功的这个因素，这也是我没想到的。那确实他背后有这么多人帮他合唱，我觉得视觉上效果也比较好，所以我觉得最后他们比赛定的这个结果我也可以理解啊，但是就是我觉得那个阿云嘎输掉也是蛮可惜的，因为我觉得这就是一个不是非常公平的一场 battle。
Wow, so that was correct then.
还有一点就是大家也就觉得说陈楚生那个高音没有唱上去，那也是他扣分的地方，但是他最后还是赢了，所以就是很多人在吵这件事情，因为唱歌比赛失误其实而且又是这么大的明显的一个失误，对于很多人来说是一个很大的扣分。然后对啊，我也不知道。
I think this shows you, though, again, how important the song is, right? Because you have to know your audience too. I mean, this audience and these judges might be more comfortable and just more fans of this style of music, more the pop, rock, alternative, emo, like emotional, they call it emo rock, emotional hardcore kind of rock. So it's the other style, you know, the musical theater is a little more niche. It's not as popular these days as it used to be. What's interesting in the United States, the pop music of about 100 years ago, 80 years ago, the pop music was all musical theater songs. That's what pop music was. It was all music from the Broadway shows, and that's what people knew, and that style of singing. So only over the past, you know, number of decades has music evolved when rock came into play and evolving into, you know, with R&B and combining that into, you know, pop music. So it's very interesting because tastes change over time too. And I think this just might have been a timing thing for Ayunga. If he sang this, if it was Singer 1925 instead of 1925, he wins. No doubt about it. In fact, Chen Chuang, they would boo, get him off the stage. He's not a real singer. I don't know what that song is. It doesn't sound like music to me. I think Ayunga came 100 years too late to win this episode of Singer 2025. But
有道理，真的有道理。这真的让我觉得要重新思考。我觉得学习写歌真的是非常重要，因为你在写歌的时候，你必须考量的点真的蛮多了因为时代背景这以前没有考量过。因为我是学唱歌学了很多年，我一直都认为声音是唱出来的这个声音是最重要的。你要高音唱上去，你要 relax， 你要 整个音色要能够符合歌曲，可是没有想到说歌曲你还要考量时代背景，你还要考量歌曲的编排，以及到时候最后的呈现什么，其实这都是非常的全面啊，所以如果真的要学写歌的话，真的一定要找 Adam， 因为他能够考量到非常非常多的这个方面，连时代背景都可以拿来考量，这是不容易，非常的厉害，很同意这个说法。
Yes, and I think singers, of course, tend to make really good songwriters because they're already hearing and they can already sing the melodies if they have melodies in their head. And even if they're not naturally inclined with melodies, everybody has a story to tell. It's about being creative, and if you love to sing, maybe you'll get more into the songwriting process. And if you are not great with melodies, you can collaborate with someone who is good with melodies, and you can still bring your story and lyrics. And people who don't sing at all, some people just write lyrics or just have a story to tell, and they work with other people. Collaboration is very important, particularly in pop songwriting. You have multiple writers coming together with their specialty skills. Not everybody can just do melodies and lyrics and everything all amazing. There are those that can, but it's hope for us all that we can find our own talents and then come together and come up with a great song.
完全同意，完全同意。感谢 Adam 这一次非常精彩的这个分析，完完全全没想到，我本来以为你会选出一个你心目中比较好的，结果你选出两个都选，而且我觉得选的非常的有道理啊。我们今天这一期也差不多就到这个地方了。
Well, I want to thank you again, Orange. This has been really enjoyable to listen to two great singers, and what a fun program. Until next time.
OK， 感谢 Adam 大师。那我们今天就到这样。如果你未来还喜欢这一类大师系列的话，帮我记得按赞，然后分享给你身边的好朋友，然后开启小铃铛。那我们今天就先到这边，感谢各位，拜拜，拜拜，
再见，再见。